So it finally happened. Elden Ring came out, and it's great. I've just about beaten it, and I absolutely love it. So I've started doing what everyone on the internet does with things they cherish. I tried to rank it, unceremoniously, in a nicely colored tier list. I've spent far too much time this past month trying to suss out where Elden Ring ranks for me among developer Fromsoftware's Souls-born Shadows Die Ring genre. Yeah, we're gonna go with that. I'm also pondering where it ranks among my favorite games of all time. Yeah, it's that good. I adore a lot of aspects of this game. Its non-traditional pacing, its focus on player freedom, its unique approach to problem solving, and hey, get out of here, Breath of the Wild. This is Elden Ring's video. You've had your time in the sun. Stay. Stay. Good. A lot of critics are calling Elden Ring's release a watershed moment in video game design, which is a statement that people who play FromSoftware's other titles probably find a bit silly. These Souls-born Shadows Die Ring veterans are familiar with FromSoftware's bag of tricks, and have been for a long time. Sure, Elden Ring might peddle out a few more tricks and new mechanics, but a FromSoftware fan can easily just call Elden Ring a stretched out new version of Dark Souls 3. And in some ways, they'd be right. Elden Ring's DNA is mappable. You can trace almost every aspect of its design back to mechanics first tried out in FromSoftware's previous titles. And yeah, they are refined, and fine-tuned, and expanded upon. But at the end of the day, you can make an argument that Elden Ring is just Dark Souls 4. And 5. And also 6, because man, it is just such a big game. But don't take it from me. Let's take a moment to read some user reviews from the always level-headed people over on Metacritic.
Awful boss design and disappointing combat system. This game should be called Dark Souls 4.
This game has nothing more compared to previous games. Why keep lying to ourselves?
This company has been making the same game for over a decade now, and they're getting away with it.
This game feels like they threw Dark Souls 3 in a blender and added some new bosses.
This game is not as great as I was hoping. There is a lot of recycling from old games, and the open world is no more exciting than too much.
An open world looks bad and graphics and old textures.
Just another game with a horse.
Well, that was fun. Talking about a game in this way is certainly entertaining. Let me give it a try. It pains me to say this, but obviously, I can't place Elden Ring among my favorite games of all time if everything it does is just iterating on a previous FromSoftware title. I mean, everyone hates sequels, right? If you have a 2 in your name, or some reused assets, you can't be considered a great game. I know my list of favorite games is far too prestigious to include a sequel or a sequel in everything but name, and I'm guessing you feel the same way, right? Alright, confession time. These are my top 5 games of all time. I don't know how to tell you why, but this is the list in my heart. Do you notice anything similar about these titles? Yeah, you got me. With the exception of Hollow Knight, these games are all sequels. And the runner-up games? The same is true for a lot of those as well. Why is this? I thought I was a believer in the sentiment that new original IP are essential for the video game market in order for games to continue to surprise and excite the people like me who play them. I mean, this sort of game excites me, and this does not. If that is the case, why do sequels rank so highly in my own personal favorites list? This problem perplexes me, and I need to do some real soul searching, or at least accuse everyone else of having the same problem. So, I started digging around the internet and noticed something weird.
Call of Duty.
Advanced Warfare. Xbox One.
Copy that.
Okay, first things first, there are a lot of sequels, and sequels get played a lot. A sequel has been the highest selling game in the United States for over a decade, usually with the words
Call of Duty
attached. Also, sequels seem to review well too. These are the top 20 highest rated games in history. After you take out re-releases, you're left with this list of titles. Out of the 20 games on this list, only 5 can be considered original IP, if we do not count GoldenEye, which we really shouldn't. Here's some simple math for you. 5 games in a list of 20 means only 25% of the top 20 highest rated games of all time are not sequels. And each of these 5 titles later spawned sequels and franchises. But to be fair, that's only one list, and we've already covered how Metacritic user scores have their faults. So what about OpenCritic, the review aggregation website? That has to be at least a little... oh. It's the same results. Huh. Once again, we are looking at 5 titles that aren't sequels or part of a larger franchise. And hey look, Elden Ring's one of them. But these websites only represent 2 perspectives. Well, I mean, they actually represent hundreds of perspectives, but to play devil's advocate, yeah, 2 perspectives. Let's try something different. I know I was teasing them earlier, but IGN is one of the largest gaming websites in the world. The site has awarded 29 modern games, whatever that means, with its highest score of a perfect 10. Out of those 29 games, 9 are original IP, one of which being Elden Ring. That means only a little more than a third of their highest rated games are original titles. Now, a third isn't the majority, but it is a larger percentage than both OpenCritic and Metacritic. However, I still can't help but find this number surprisingly low. What about another gaming website? Let's take a look at how GameSpot's highest rated games compare. Well, they've awarded only 21 titles with perfect 10s in their entire history, and 5 or 6 are original IP, depending on how you classify Chrono Cross. Now I can keep throwing lists at you, but that would get boring, so I'll drop it. Let's just take a nice little break. Ah, isn't this nice? A chance to catch our breath and think about everything we've learned. Yep. This is nice. Okay, what if we looked at like one more? I mean, I already looked at all these lists and counted them up and did 4th grade math, so we're gonna look at least one more list, but then that will be it. I promise. Since 1986, Famitsu has awarded 27 games with perfect scores, and 8 are original IP if you count JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battles as the first title in the CyberConnect 2 JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fighting game series, which, yeah, that's a lot of qualifiers. Famitsu is the #1 video game magazine in Japan. The particular titles this publication has chosen to highlight may be different, but the highest rated games are still overwhelmingly sequels. I could keep throwing examples at you, but that would get old fast. Trust me, sequels reigned supreme on almost every best games list I could find. Alright, so what's my point? That sequels are great? No, that's not exactly it. I just think that the conversation around originality in video games should be a bit more nuanced. An original IP can certainly rely on unoriginal or overplayed gameplay loops. Ubisoft Tower games are an easy example, but there are others. The opposite is also true. Amazing new experiences can be found in decades-old franchises, or new franchises can evolve from them. even sometimes with the same game developers leading the way. I still believe there's value in lifting up new IP because they are riskier projects for developers, and it certainly feels like you are more likely to see new genres and twists on gameplay mechanics come from them. But the thing is, I might find myself liking the execution of these new ideas when they crop up in a part 2. Now, the opposite is also true. The 2010s saw certain games launch completely new, exciting genres, while not exactly shipping as complete, finished products.
Why have you been watching us?
I don't even have time to explain why I don't have time to explain.
Why isn't it possible?
It's just not.
Why not, you stupid bastard?
The ideas present in these games are alive and well in 2022. Some were carried forward by direct sequels or live service support, and at least one was taken on and refined by competitors who either really understood the emerging genre or got historically lucky with a strategic pivot, which is not always a guarantee. Fortnite can be seen as a sequel to games like PUBG mechanically, but that doesn't mean it lacks impact or imagination. There's a lot of innovations to be found in genres that are still fairly young. If Elden Ring is just another title in the Soulsborne, Shadows Die Ring genre, that's okay. Demon's Souls only came out 13 years ago. Statistically, your car is about as old as this entire genre. Looking back on my own favorite games, I can tell you that they aren't very original. Portal 2, even though I love it dearly, is just a better version of Portal with a larger cast. The same could be said for Halo 3, and maybe even Pokemon Emerald, but that's up for debate. The reason I like these games is the same reason I like Elden Ring. They took ideas that I loved, maybe even original ideas, and made them better. Or, you know, added Mudkip. I actually think NieR Automata is probably the best example for what I'm trying to talk about. The original NieR titles were, let's say, flawed. Don't get me wrong, they had an amazing cast of characters and were designed by the same great visionary as Automata, but they weren't exactly fun to play, and some of their best content was very inaccessible. Automata took Yoko Taro's unique approach to storytelling and perspective, and expanded on older ideas using new technology and a much larger budget. The final product is wholly unique, genre-defining, and without a doubt, a sequel. To me, Elden Ring is the same. Yes, I'm still rolling through attacks and fighting larger-than-life creatures, and I have been doing that for a decade. I'm probably never going to stop calling Sites of Grace bonfires and runes souls. But that's okay. It's what Fromsoftware does with this formula that matters. And for me, Elden Ring does a lot. I can't wait to play the next one.